Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
You are listening to Lone Star Community Radio on 104.5 KCZW LP Conroe and 106.1 KZCC LP Conroe and worldwide at irlonestar.com. Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show, and this is Cindy Cochran. I want to tell everybody thank you so much for listening and being with us today, because if you weren't out there, I don't know what I'd do, because Brianna can't show up. Is this show cursed or what? I don't know. I think it is. I mean, but she can't get her car started. At least it wasn't a bomb in her company, in her building. But she said she's been trying for 20 minutes to get it started. And my first thought was to say something like a guy would say. Oh, you probably flooded it. That's what you've done. That's why it won't start, because you've been trying to start it for 20 minutes. It's flooded. Is that what you'd say, Richard?
If I was talking to my wife, yes. If my wife, just like you, Cindy, teaches me that people are capable of miracles.
Yeah, true. That's true.
Just want to let you know that.
Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate that. But I have done that maybe a long time ago, but I was told quite emphatically, you don't leave your foot on the gas on the floor. It doesn't help it. It floods it. So,
but I feel like that kind of knowledge changes like every 20 years. Because they completely redo the car. It's like, oh, we got rid of that problem because so many people were doing it. And now we're electric. And now we just...
Well, I can't tell you how long it took me to stop banging my foot on the floorboard to the right to blink my lights, my bright lights, and try and get my bright lights, because...
Cars are funky.
It was such a practical place to put that, what do you call it, to brighten the lights. Anyway, but they don't teach girls, and I don't know why. They probably do now.
Teach everybody
if you
equally.
Want to.
Everyone's getting taught the same thing.
So if I said I wanted to learn about the cars, but they didn't teach cars. You couldn't go into the automotive class if you were a girl. They didn't offer it to the girls when I was at school. So it was that way. And you couldn't... FFA was different, though. Future Farmers America. They would let you come in if you were a girl, but not many girls would ever want to do that anyway. They just... because it was messy. But doing in the car was so important. They should have taught you how to change the oil. And Sam has tried to teach you that.
This is what I don't really understand, Cindy, is I feel like those kind of skills could be expected to be taught by your guardians or your parents or a friend, not the school. It's not the school's job to teach you those skills.
Well, why do the schools want to teach the kids about sex?
That's because some weird person 100 years ago is like, hey, they want to do that.
No, they shouldn't teach them about sex, but they should teach them about how to change the oil in their car, how to fix the tank on the toilet when it gets stuck, and how to remove that top and what that is underneath there, so that they can do that.
Some people don't have toilets.
Huh?
Some people don't have toilets.
Some people don't own toilets?
Yeah.
Where do they go?
Well, it's so funny. Like, I know this is something that every parent and every person has an opinion on. It's like what they should teach you in school, but like you have so limited time. It's like the limited time to teach something.
Yes.
So what should be prioritized?
The practical things.
I mean, I don't. Maybe what it could be is something where a certain age or a certain class you learn those things that year, and then you don't touch it again.
Well, did they ever teach you how to balance a checkbook?
No.
And now you don't
But you
need
understand
to.
what I'm saying? It's not something that, like, it's kind of like when you go to, like, college. Some colleges require you to take certain classes, but that doesn't mean you have to take it that year. You have to take it at one point, whenever. Maybe that's what they should do.
Well, I just
Like,
don't.
everyone takes a home ec, everyone takes a car, but, like, you don't have to do it all in 1 year where you have a bunch of different things. You just do one every year, and then there you go.
Just life skills. That's
Yeah.
just those kind of things would be wonderful. And if you were taught, like how to clean your room. No, I guess that's probably they wouldn't want you to do that. But there's just things that
Again,
they
that's
should
another
teach.
skill you should be teaching, Cindy. Why aren't you teaching anyone, like your loved ones, how to do the car?
How to do the car?
How to do it? Why aren't you teaching anybody?
Well, I've told them don't flood the car, and Sam's tried to teach me how to change the oil so many times.
Yeah.
But I can't remember about reading the stick when you pull it out, how you read that. So, but I mean, there's just a lot of things. But there are things that I know about, a thing. Like I know the sign language alphabet, and Sam doesn't. So there's some things that I know that he doesn't know that I could teach him, but he doesn't feel like women should be teaching the man anything. I mean, he's really a 50s guy. The 50s
Clearly
killed those guys, the mentality of what women are and what they should be doing and all that. I don't get that.
I think it's also what society you grew up in. I mean, I think Europe has a different concept, right?
That I have a different concept
of how to do that. Like, that was more of American in the 50s. I don't think everyone in the 1950s was doing that.
Well, it was
like the tribe in Papua New Guinea is not. Women can't
Right.
drive. I don't think that's happening in Papua New Guinea. I think it's
right. But I think we were pretty close on a lot of things because of what women couldn't do, and not being on a jury and the things that they were expected to do. You're going to be a teacher. You're going to be a nurse. I remember all the little kids even on television in the 1950s, and they'd say, "Okay, what would you like to be when you grow up?" And all the girls said nurses or teachers, and the boys said firemen or policemen.
yeah.
And it was amazing. And now I wonder what they say. They want to come into the schools and tell them, what gender, they may not be the gender they think they are. And so they want to
Nah,
make
not
sure
really.
that
I think that's overblown. I think it's more
overblown.
Today would be like a TikTok person or something. That's what they want to be. I think that's probably what it is. Anything that has to do with the phone. If you could be any occupation on but I have to use the phone during that occupation. That's what they're going to want to be.
Well, Samuel tells me how much they make on TikTok, and
Which I still don't understand.
But
then again,
I don't get that.
I get it, but I
nothing.
don't get it.
And if you follow them, and it's you really can't watch it too long because really the monkeys and the dogs really are the stars of that. I mean, if it wasn't for the monkeys and the dogs, TikTok would be nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
it's true. I mean, they do
my wife
some.
loves TikTok, so
You closed
my
it?
wife loves it.
Oh, she loves it.
She loves TikTok, so I have to. That's kind of a thing I have to do with her.
Is-
Until I'm like, all right, after like 4 minutes of it, I go, hey, there's only so much I can take. And
Yes.
you don't even like what you know. What really kills me about TikTok
What?
is it teaches you like the worst habits with with consuming media.
How short it is?
Well, it's so short that it teaches you, oh, this isn't even entertaining in the first 5 seconds. I'm gonna switch.
Right.
But even though it's like you watched it this far, there's a payoff. And so you don't finish any
Oh
of
my
the video.
gosh, you've been scammed by that?
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, exactly.
So it's just kind of like, I'm even talking about the users doing it. Like, Holly does it all the time. I was like, that was kind of interesting. Why don't we finish that? It's only 15 seconds. It wasn't interesting. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm not even watching anything.
No, is that one where the guy's sitting at his desk and this person comes up and stands there, and they stand there and they first have on guy's clothes and a suit, and so they start taking off the suit and all that, and it's going to be his girlfriend that he hadn't seen in a long time, and so they make you watch it because she's taking off her clothes. She wants, and what his reaction is going to be. And then they'll cook something.
What are you watching?
No, this was what I didn't watch it to the end, but they have like a cooking segment, and they're going to show you how to make a steak in a microwave, where it's
gonna
great.
work out.
And they sit there and talk before they ever put the steak in.
Yeah.
I wanted to see how it would come out, and it didn't.
Yeah.
I was really
it's-
disappointed, but anyway.
Well, no, not even that. Another thing I really enjoy about TikTok is how easy it is to lie to people, and just like people believe anything.
Yes.
Because now when my wife and I have a debate,
Yes.
I go, "Are you getting your facts from TikTok?"
What did she say?
She's like, "Well, I heard someone talk about it, but then I read about it." I'm like, "Yeah, but most of the time, people on TikTok are coming from like a bad position on it because they want you to believe something." And especially like in any, like she's a nurse, and she likes the nurse TikToks, and it's amazing how how quickly you can form an opinion about nurses when you have nurse TikTok. Because
Yes.
it sounds like it's horrible. It's Everything's horrible. and I look at her and I was like, "Do you really believe it's that horrible?" And she's like, "Well, parts of the country, yeah." I'm like, "But not here, right?" Mm-hmm. And especially during COVID. Like, I was sitting there going, like, this is crazy. Like, these stories are saying that you don't know if they're real. You have no idea, but you're just going to take it at their word. Some stranger on TikTok.
Well, what I liked about during the pandemic is when the nurses or the doctors would get together and do a dance down the hallway. And did you ever see any of those?
No, but the one that she kind of, like, the ones she usually gets are more of, like, how hospitals are treating their nurses, what your legal rights are, and, union stuff, not union stuff, but how to protect you. Because, and this is something I've learned from my grandfather, because he was, I want to say, a proctologist or something like that at UTMB in Galveston, and a urologist, sorry. Like, basically, he quit because this is right when insurance became like, oh, you're paying more insurance because you're going to get sued. It was not because, like, oh, you might need more insurance because of a device failed or something like that. It was more of, you're going to get sued. And he did a pro bono case, and that lady sued him. And so she was like, "I'm not doing this anymore because this is ridiculous.
Oh, man.
Like, why would I want to help people and then I
Like,
just get
what
a
an
fear of being
idiot.
sued and lose everything I've built?"
Right.
So
Oh,
it's kind
that's
of like,
terrible. No,
But,
that's bad.
but I know that's how her mind operates when she works on patients. She's just like, you get to record everything, you got to take everything down, everything needs a receipt. So,
You're exactly right. Or everybody should be wearing a body cam. That's,
but you can't wear a body cam in a hospital.
well, that privacy thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, then you flip down the cover of the.
You
But,
can't. So
But you need to. But you could record everything that's said, right?
I don't know about that. I don't think you can. Because of HIPAA. Like, I know
Because of
there's
HIPAA. Yeah.
I know, like, it's an interesting lesson to learn from contractors when they build hospitals, because when they do security cameras and all that stuff, they have to do special protocols for it.
Ah.
Yeah.
But they don't have a camera on you in the.
No, but they have, like, say, in the garage.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But, like, you have to have it at certain angles because you can't see, like, who's going into the hospital. Mm-hmm. Because
That's right. You
Yeah,
protect it.
it's really interesting.
But I've always wondered, like, where's the camera in the room? You know.
Like, I know, I don't see my wife being upset. She was assaulted one time by a man while taking care of their child. And so now what she was told from the hospital she worked at the time was just, you have to leave the door open.
Really? That's terrible. How long ago was
Because
that?
you can't prove it because there are no cameras.
Right.
And so it's like, oh, you shouldn't have left the door closed. She's like, you mean these doors that, like, are heavy and they automatically close sometimes? Like,
What happened to him?
nothing. He got to come back.
He what?
His son was in the hospital, so he gets to come back and see his son.
Oh my
Yeah.
word! She didn't call the police or anything
Well, what do you do?
because she couldn't prove it.
Yeah, there's no cameras, there's nothing. It's gonna be he said, she said, and the only thing they really offer was like, oh, we just won't put you on that floor. But
How old was the son?
I think he was like an infant.
Oh. Oh my!
Yeah.
Couldn't she say, "I'm going to tell your wife"? If
Yeah, but then he'd be like, I'm going to sue this place.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's horrible. Bless her heart.
That's why I told her we should just get rid of hospitals and just leave everyone to themselves. Like, just deal with it.
Oh, that's a great idea, Richard. That's why I like to talk to Richard.
Well, I want to prevent harassment. So that's how you prevent it.
Yeah, true. Don't ever, and she doesn't work in a predominantly male industry. It's
I have
she's
no idea what the ratio is. There's other people than nurses at hospitals, Cindy. So.
well, picking entertainment and any fringe of it, or TV or anything like that in the 70s, because it was all mostly males dominated, and they did exactly what Anchorman. You saw the movie Anchorman with Will Ferrell.
I don't doubt it.
It was exactly like it was at where I was working. I'm not going to say where I was, but that's exactly what it was like, and it just amazed me. I mean, because if I was really strong when I was younger, I was strong. I was strong, and so I could get myself out of some things, or laugh myself out. I'm like, oh, you're kidding, right? You're not going to really do that. But I realized that everything's so different now. But the guys were terrible. They were terrible. And I don't think all guys are. I'm not saying that. But I mean, it's just that they wielded power over you, and they thought if they're the boss, they're the boss. And they can tell you anything they want you to. It's horrible. But anyway, on to other subject matters.
Okay. Cindy Cochran Show.
Yes, and listen, you're listening to the Cindy Cochran Show in beautiful downtown Conroe in the Conroe Tower. Not towers, but the Conroe Tower. And if you don't believe Conroe has a tower in it, you just come down 105 going east and you'll see it. And it's, Conroe is beautiful, and it's very quaint, it's very cute, and you feel, it's very homey. And you just... Before it becomes too industrialized and modern and all that, you better get down here and take a look. Don't you think?
Sure.
You don't see it, like, is the theater still over there where we used to have?
Yeah.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't been down that road. I haven't. But what's in where we were? Where we had
Theater.
No.
Ellen Theater was across the street.
I know, but what was? I'm saying. Where we were, is there somebody else there now?
I hope so.
Are they doing radio?
No.
Oh, okay. They have a lunchroom?
You can get out more, Cindy.
Well, I just drive straight to this place and go underground and come up the elevator, and that's all I do. No, but I haven't been over there in a long time. Okay, so what I'd like to talk about, since we're going to cover, because Brianna Carr is out. That's why she's not here, and that's why you're not hearing her. And I'm not being rude and not talking to her, but we're going to reschedule her for sure, because her love of the Astros is mind-blowing. She loves and she knows everything about the Astros. She wears, and what she wears is always Astro-related. And whenever she was telling me that, I said, well, how do you feel about the Texans? Oh, I just went to the Houston Texan training camp. So you would just love it. It was I went, wait a minute. You went to their training camp? I said, sure. You go and you watch them, and they come up and they give you autographs, and you talk to them, and you get, you really get yourself in the idea of bonding with these people, so that when you watch them on TV, it might be a little more interesting. That's the problem I have. Like race car driving. Phyllis Ledbetter, who was on a while back, she's NASCAR crazy, and she knows these people. She goes out to the track and she walks up to the car and talks to them and gets to know them, and then she loves to watch the races and has a vested interest in it. But I cannot stand sports where you don't know anybody. Like when the grandchildren or the children were involved in the sports and they were in the baseball team, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But when you don't know anybody, it just... Or if you're not playing yourself, I just don't get the interest that it holds people with. So
It's because people are bored, Cindy.
I think they are, but But sitting there,
it's nice to keep track and have a consistency and something to do. It's like, I mean, I like Astros baseball. I like to watch. So it's like, I like to know, are the Astros playing today? And it's like.
now I've got that kind of interest. I've got the interest, like, did they play?
Now,
Did
if
they
you're
win?
talking about, like, owning plush dolls of all your favorite players and stuff, I mean, that's just the type of person you are.
The bobblehead?
Yeah, the bobbleheads,
Yeah.
jerseys. I mean, there's so many different things you could do.
Well, I would like to.
I mean, I still got a dumb dog from the Astrodome.
A what kind of dog?
Hot dog. I kept it.
It was a real hot dog?
Yeah.
Wait, is it got green on it now?
I'm
No, I took Chad. Chad loved the Astros. He had Astro shirts. Stuff. He was just a little kid, like maybe 7 or 8 years old, and I signed the anthem in the middle of the field. It was it wasn't hearing impaired. It was like hearing impaired month or something like that, and so they asked me to come sign it. Now, if no one told me about the 3 layers of audio I'm going to be hearing.
Oh, yeah.
So to try and pick out which one to sign
That's
to,
why they should have given you a monitor.
nothing. I just stood out there and it started going, oh, say, can you? It was,
Just go off the first one you hear.
well, but staying up with it and the lag was horrible. But anyway, so I got to bring Christy and Samuel. Samuel had a blast. He got to run around the bases. He got to, meet the people, and then went down to the locker room, and they got to meet the people, and it was like dream day for him. He just couldn't believe it, and he had his little glove on, and it was amazing. A game of baseball. So I like the Astros, and Altuve is wonderful. I like him, and now this Mancini he's the one who hit the home run the first time up. You know all about that? Okay. Well, we're going to have Jimmy the C is going to be coming back. I'm going to have him come on and do a sports talk, just a short sports talk, because all I want to know is, do they win? Are they going to win? Are they going to the finals? Are they in the finals?
Sounds like he gets into gambling or something.
Well, that's the fantasy football that Brianna's going to talk about.
That's how people get to like the next layer of sports.
Well, now I started betting Sam that this team would win, and he would do that, but I never had the money, and I would lose, and he said, this isn't even fair. It's not even fun because it's not your money that you're giving me. I said, okay, yeah. But it was just fun knowing that he was going to have to give me, the money, and I thought that was a good way to be interested in it. Maybe that's why people do the fantasy football and all that stuff. But Brianna will be talking about this, but she sets up all that fantasy football for their whole company, and that's just amazing. Remember she came a long time ago, like 6 years ago, and she learned how to do that herself and started playing fantasy football. And Chad played it, and he won some money, but it's not gambling, right? It's not like...
It just depends how you set up the league.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. But aren't we not supposed to gamble in Texas like that?
I don't think it's really gambling. It's kind of like bowling. Because in bowling, we get paid out at the end depending on what position you're in.
Well, you mean they bet on bowling leagues on TV?
No, like when I bowl every Monday night, I pay $15, and a certain percentage of that goes into like a pot.
A pot, yeah.
And at the end of the season for the bowling league is like Team 1 gets more money than Team 10.
Well, I would
So
swear.
same thing with leagues. Same thing with fantasy leagues. Some leagues set it up where the first place gets all of it. Some places get who had the most tackles, that person gets some money. They have little things like that.
I didn't know that. Well, I just thought it was illegal to gamble, like to have a gambling house.
I think it's if the house is taking a cut, I think that's what's illegal.
When Will Ferrell there was a movie and they set up their whole house.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it illegal. I'm not entirely sure because I do know in Houston there's like poker houses, and they get around the rule of like the house taking a cut if you like pay a fee.
Okay. Well, because big hotels would have people.
Yeah, like I don't really know how they did it, but I know they get raided all the time, and there's always people talking about, oh, there was a thing in the back. Like I remember at certain parts of Texas, you always see the slots in the gas stations, and I always wondered, is this like an ordinance thing in the city where they're allowed to do certain things, but like they're getting paid cash, but they're not.
Right.
It's like it didn't make no sense, but it's like out in the open.
Well, the lottery.
And they're like, oh, you get coupons. I'm like, yeah, sure, you get coupons.
Well, the lottery just was won by, I thought it was just one person won it.
Yeah.
And they haven't seen him for weeks. Because they
I think it was in Illinois they got it,
and they'll protect them from anyone knowing.
I think certain states have
right.
that. Other states don't.
No, other states let the cousins crawl out of the woodwork, and that's what would $370. Oh no, it was $1 billion.
I think it's over $1 billion.
Oh my word! What would you do with that, Richard? The first thing you would do with that? What would you do with that?
I try to buy Twitter.
You'd try to buy.
Yeah, I'd be like, yo, Elon, I want to buy Twitter too, and then would be tweeting for.
Elon, I'll take it off your hands. It'll be fine. We'll get it done.
If I had that kind of money, I'd just be making so many good jokes.
You'd be making so many
good jokes.
Yeah, what? Wouldn't you want to buy your mom and dad a new home, a new mansion?
No, I think they like their house.
No, I mean they got a huge house
they
already.
Like their house.
Beautiful house. But you'd want to buy your wife a really nice house. You want to go ahead and start having the kids. You want to start all the stuff that you are waiting for that ship to come in.
I don't know.
And you'd pay your. No, maybe not that. But anyway, I want to talk about something
I would
else.
definitely probably buy you an assistant, Cindy, for sure.
I don't know why you say that. I know you don't want to badmouth me at all about that, because that's you could sway people to have a certain way they feel about me, and if you use that power to do that, I mean, that could be like illegal. I'd have to sue you.
What I always wondered about people winning the lottery is like the process. Because like you win, right? Like say you have your winning ticket and you're on the television. And you're like, oh my gosh, I wanted money, yay! And it's like, how do I get my money? And then I guess do you go to the gas station, or I guess there's a phone number. I never bought a lottery ticket in my life, so they
have a board or something that gives you your check, and they do take the picture and do all that stuff.
So they ask you like, oh, who do we write the check out to? And here you go, and it's going to take 14 days since it's over $10,000 to clear.
Well, they know who it is because my former son-in-law won $1,000. And we went down there with him they're going to take the picture because I wanted him to pay me some stuff, But no, but it was really funny. It's like, and he hated anybody to know it because he had friends that would come after him and want some money and want to borrow money and stuff.
Well, yeah, that's another thing I always wondered is like when you hit, how you get the solicitation stuff in the mail and you get spam calls. You're like, I wonder how they got my information.
Yeah.
You always wonder, like, what's the point of contact on that? So if you make $500 million, like, do you just get things about yachts and stuff sent to your house? Like, oh, you want to buy a yacht?
Yeah. And I wonder if you're known and you've had your picture in the paper and all that, and you want to go stay at some big hotel, or they wouldn't let you pay. No, you don't need to pay. Because they want the publicity from you staying in their hotel and stuff.
I guess.
When I was working,
I don't think that really goes around anymore. I think maybe Vegas will do that.
Yeah.
But I don't think like you can call, the Hilton in Houston and be like, I want to stay at the Hilton.
I don't think that Fairmont and Willis will do it.
I don't really think they care.
But let me tell you what happened to me. I was doing the news for Channel 13. Around the corner there was a Chevrolet place.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's there anymore. But this guy came up to me. I was just looking at cars because I had some time to waste. And they had a Corvette, a red Corvette. And I was looking at this red Corvette, and this guy said, "Oh, you'd look great in that Corvette." And I went, "Yeah, but it wouldn't look great in my bank account." And he said, "You don't have to do that. Listen, I'll let you drive this around. Just you just drive it around, and you can tell the people at Channel 13 that we're letting you do that. And I went, really? And that's okay? Sure, that's okay. Yeah, you get in that car and you drive it around, and be sure and tell everybody and tell, the president there that we're letting you do this, and this will be great. And I went, man, that's wonderful. So I drove it over to the station. And I said, come out here. I want y'all to see what I got.
You didn't sign any paperwork or anything?
No, nothing.
Just gave you a key.
Gave me a key.
All right.
So, and I go over there, and everybody comes out, looks at the car, and I said, where did you get this? And I told them, I said, that dealership said I could drive it, and as long as I came over here and told everybody about it, that it would be fine. And so the president called me into his office, and he said, okay, let me tell you something. Because you're on this station, and we go to thousands and thousands of people are going to call you and want you to do stuff for them, because they could think they could get free publicity for it. You can't do that. So you can't.
Why can't you?
Because I'll fire you, or you won't do this anymore. And so I did that, and then somebody called me from the Chronicle and wanted to do a story on a story they had done about
stealing a Corvette?
No, about this professor who didn't like the fact that I was signing, because this professor said because she's signing, she is encouraging other deaf people to sign instead of talk, and we're against that.
Sense. That's logic.
Oh, brother. And so so the Chronicle calls me and says, "What do you think about what that guy said about you?"
There.
Well, it was, yeah, exactly. And so the Chronicle said, "What do you think about what that guy said about you?" And I said, well, and then I told him my story. Well, Channel 13 calls me and said, the president wants to see you in his office. So I went, what do I do now? And they said, you can't you can't talk to the papers without someone of us being there, because you say things that are inflammatory or get us in trouble, and we can't do that. It's like
the doctor story I said at the beginning of the show. It's like everyone's just afraid of getting sued.
That's exactly right. And so he said, shut up. If they call, don't talk to anybody, because you understand you have some influence now. A lot, but you have some influence now. So when you talk, when you say something, they think that's...
Yeah, I don't care what you do, Cindy.
Great. Okay,
because
speaking...
I can easily say, I don't know who you're talking about. Like, she just comes in.
I think she just grabbed the mic and started talking about stuff, and we didn't know what she was talking about.
She owes me money, actually. Do you know where she is?
That would be perfect. Yeah, that's good. I love that you have my back. Defund Cindy. So anyway, if we want to talk about the stores and what they're out of, I want to ask you a question. The stores are out of a lot of stuff. Have you found that? Do you go shopping, or does Holly do it?
No, I mean I shop, but I mean I don't think it's necessarily like I've ran anything that's out of, like they're out of toilet paper.
No, not toilet paper.
Yeah, never.
What are they out of?
Well, what is it this week?
What's the barest shelf?
What's this week?
What's this week?
Yeah, there's always something for the past 2 years. There's always something missing.
Well, I just wanted you, if
so you're asking me to
if
guess.
Groceries are so high,
Yeah.
it's hard to buy groceries. Okay, if they're so high, what do the people who can't afford to pay those prices, what would they go in the store and buy?
I don't know.
And I wish I had invested in it.
Grapes.
Grapes are expensive too. No.
Brisket.
What?
Brisket.
No.
What would they go and buy?
They go and buy ramen noodles. It is so hard.
Okay.
Like whenever you go in there, you better they stock on Wednesday, so you better be there Wednesday morning. So when that opens, and you go in there and you get your ramen noodles, and because they're gone. And I mean, I love ramen noodles. I like them. I don't see them as a cheap fix, but they are.
Probably because of TikTok.
That's
probably seen all those recipes on TikTok. Because I know I've seen recipe stuff for Ramen noodles, like, really? This is where we're at? We're buying 99-cent ramen noodles. How to make it better?
Hey, Spam.
Add an egg. Put Spam in it. Like,
Have
I
you
was like,
seen
all right.
Spam? Spam's got the most sophisticated commercials. I was like, they must be doing great because their commercials look more expensive than.
Well, they have
Yeah.
probably zero penetration in new user market
Right, right,
because no one's being born 20 years ago going, I wish I had a can of Spam. Now,
right.
if someone born 60 years ago plus, I could see it because it was just like that's the natural thing.
Yeah, well, there's a
Because that was
stigma. There's a stigma
that was part of their lifestyle was eating a can of Spam. But
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever encountered anybody my age being like, man, you know, it'd be really good right now, a can of Spam.
But that's what they're trying to make it. And,
Oh, yeah.
and to me, it looks like because they think a lot of poor people are going to have to buy it because that's if you were poor, you'd ate Spam, or you couldn't
I
afford a
always
lot.
felt like the ramen noodle Spam people were more people who just didn't know how to cook.
No, it's they can afford it. They've got a big family, and it makes a lot of stuff for you to. That's what's so funny. That
I don't
doesn't even
know.
happen anymore. What am I saying? One can of green beans used to be like what you'd use for the family to put in a bowl to put on the
Yeah.
table. It doesn't even feed me one person because there's hardly any beans in it anymore.
I don't
It's
know. Maybe you're just getting bigger, Cindy.
the can. Shut up. No, the can, and you feel like has my hand grown that much? When I grab one of those cans, they're so small. So they've reduced the can
Yeah.
and reduced what's in it, and charge you more.
Seems like how everything's going these days.
It's just, it really makes me angry, and so taking advantage of
Yeah.
everybody. So I was just, and plus the pasta's gone too. A lot of pastas
Oh,
that
duh.
that shelf is, and so now you have pasta, ramen noodles, and
I mean, they still have flour, so you can still make pasta.
wait, no, well, I had to buy a bag of flour that was about this big, huge
Okay.
bag. It was like a big bag of dog food that size, and because that's all they had left, they're out of everything, and so it was just, I don't know. I
don't
feel
know.
so bad.
I'm going to
I
ask
feel
you this,
bad.
though, talking about what's missing on the shelf. Sounds like wherever you're shopping is not doing a good job.
No, Kroger does. Oh, I wouldn't
You
necessarily
can say
know.
Kroger. 'Cause
Kroger
it's-
does. Kroger usually has a lot more stuff than some of the other stores I've been in, and I talked to them about it. I want to make sure they know how I feel about it, and I'm never mad at them or anything. I said, "Can you tell me why I can't find any of the big
Well, what-
potatoes anymore?"
I mean, you can diversify your area of shopping and just get it all delivered to your house. So if this place doesn't have it, I mean, my mother, that's what my mother does. She's telling me all this cool stuff she does now. And I'm like, so you don't even get out of bed. I was like, you don't get out of bed, do you? Like, when do you get out of bed?
That's so mean. That is so mean. But I love to go grocery shopping. I mean, I do that every day.
Well, no, someone asked that question. It's like, I forgot where I was listening, but they asked the question. It's like, what do you do with all this time you're saving by all these new advancements in technology?
Oh yeah.
And like, I think, like one guy even says, like, yeah, you just spend more time on your phone.
That's a good point.
Like, that's basically what it's done. Is like, it allows you to spend more. Because you think when you're like, oh, I don't have to, they're delivering it. That means I don't have to spend the drive time. That means I have more time for gardening. Like, no, you're probably just spending more time on your phone.
Well, the people drive up. I don't understand this. They drive up and pick up the groceries like at the store.
That's what my wife does.
She does?
Yeah.
It's like I would go in and shop so I can
I think it
feel
just
it,
depends.
look at it.
Yeah, it just depends on what you're getting. Because that's what I usually do. Like, if I'm buying meat, I'm going in there looking at the meat.
Yeah, because man, the meat.
But if I'm buying shampoo, I don't mind, waiting in a car for a bottle of shampoo.
Well, sure, yeah, that kind of stuff. But meat and anything produce like that, I want to see what it looks like. I don't want them selling me some, like a watermelon that it's all green and
Yeah, it happens.
that kind of stuff. But the meat, I don't know what's happened to the cows, what they're feeding them, because that meat is so fat. It's just so much fat in it now. It's
Depends on
more
what you're
fat than
buying.
their meat. What?
Kroger sounds horrible.
No,
That's what it sounds like.
no. Kroger is good. I like
You
Kroger.
can go to My Shacks over there on 105.
To where?
My Shacks.
My Pizza Shack?
No, the Polish meat market. They have pretty good meat
Oh,
there.
where's it? What's it called?
I think it's called My Shacks. There's probably like 14 different ways to pronounce it, but
And where is it?
it's over on. Do you know where Jeffrey's Jewelry is?
No.
It's on 105. Like it's on 105 and right after 2854. No, it's 20. It's 3083 in that intersection.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you go past that light. It's on your right.
Oh, well, okay, it's not on the Penny side. It's on.
Yeah, you keep going down 3083 to 105, and you take a right. There's like a CVS right there.
Oh, okay.
You take a
Oh,
right.
okay. All right. Yeah. All right. That's okay.
You head west down 105, and it's like literally the third turn right.
My
Yeah, My Shacks. You're gonna
My
spend
Shack.
a lot of money there. You want to talk about expensive?
Oh man. So is it more expensive than?
Oh yeah, but they also make really good like prepared stuffed meat. Like my wife and I like this. They have a jalapeno cornbread chicken that you just throw in
Ooh.
the oven, and
Oh,
you're
man.
good to go for like 10 meals.
I am so hungry right now. Oh
But yeah, it's
wow.
really good. I know they sell a lot of high end meat for like competition barbecuing, and then you can also get.
Really? I can't believe there's
They
something.
have really good stuff there. Their bacon's really good.
Well, you know what's funny is that Walmart had commercials where they were serving people at a restaurant, and then they'd say, "Oh, do you like your steak? This is excellent, great." You know, they're kind, and they said, this meat is such quality. Where did you get this? Walmart. And they go, "That's it. No, come on, really? Where'd you get it?" They thought people were lying to them, but you don't see those anymore, and I know why. Because whatever they're getting is not very good. I don't think the meat now is very good at all. Do you? What y'all get? Unless you go to
It's fine.
My Shack, the meat doesn't seem like it's.
Well, where we live, I'll call you Holly. Cindy, there's like 6 options for grocery stores, so it's not hard to go. I don't want to go here because this thing sucks. I'm going here.
Because it doesn't suck as
It
bad.
doesn't suck, and usually Kroger is the worst.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they're building a signature HEB right across the
Good.
street
Yeah,
from
'cause
Kroger.
HEB is 10 times better. Even though you're paying a little more, it's like 10 times better. Everything.
See, and you go to HEB because you wanted to get cheap prices, and now
Well, no, they have like it's so funny. HEB has like 6 different types of HEBs.
different. Well, what do you mean?
Well, they have like I love how they put it. It's basically a cheaper HEB, but I forget what they call it. But like the way they do it in their corporate presentation.
Oh,
It's like, they didn't want to say this is for poor people. They're like, this is for the less desirables, or
right.
or you like to call them the deplorables.
Yeah, right.
And
exactly.
but because I remember one time I went to some. I forgot what the exact thing is, but the guy, that tall dude who used to be in all the HEB commercials.
Yes.
He came and spoke, and he talked about his business model with HEB and talk about the strategies and stuff. And it's just so much fun to hear people like that because that guy's a smart guy.
Yeah.
But the way they try to corporatize how to talk, and it's just like, why don't you just say it's for poor people? Like, it's okay. It's like you don't want to. Well, it's kind of like how people, when doctors in the whole medical field turned it like it's not patient anymore. It's like client.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about? It's
yes. That's.
you can use other words, but yeah.
Well, they just changed.
I forgot what it's called though, but what I love is he said the only difference is instead of offering 6 kinds of ketchup, we only offer 2 there. And I'm like, is it really that big of a deal? So you're saying rich people just have more options? Well, no, duh.
That's
But that's but he's talking about how they stock the store and everything.
Right.
And I was like,
well,
I'm still gonna buy ketchup. Like I don't care if it's,
This one is for the Astro families that.
Well, it's like I remember when someone asked me, it's like, does that mean this place doesn't have the Whataburger stuff? And he's like, oh, we're looking into that we're looking into that study.
Oh, there.
Because you know how HEB is like exclusive to the Whataburger sauces. I was like, oh my gosh.
But you know what? HEB. The only reason I would drive to HEB before is to get their sweet onion chips and the
Well, I think
they have a chicken salad, roasted chicken salad, that is the best you've ever had
talking about
in your
H-E-B?
whole life. Yeah, H-E-B.
yeah. Well, I mean, there's certain like the H-E-B down the street here on Fraser doesn't have a butcher. They just get all their meat delivered. So whatever they have on the shelf is like what you get. But if you go down on 105 West, that one has a butcher. So like you just have to know your grocery stores and know what's going on.
Well, I've never. I mean, when I was little, we had to go to the butcher shop, and it had sawdust and all that stuff, and you watch them cut it up and stuff. And but I had. I mean, since I started getting packages of whatever it was, and I didn't want to know that came from a cow, and I didn't want to see pictures of it up on the wall or anything. And so I remember going to, I can't remember where it was that they had, I walked up to the butcher, I don't know if you call them butchers. Anyway, you don't call them butchers. But anyway, I walked up to him and I said, listen, I'd like to buy a roast, but I don't want to pay $35 for it. Can you cut one like that? And they said, no, we can't do that. And I went, but you've got everything in the back. Y'all are cutting stuff up. You can't do that. No, but maybe sometime we might do something like that, make it smaller. And I went, okay, fine. And I never wanted to talk to them again. It made me so mad that they wouldn't do that one little thing for me. It was ridiculous. So, boy, it has been.
It's not like the old school butchers where they actually have that meat ready for them to cut.
Yeah, but you'd have to imagine where you went to school to learn how to be the butcher.
I don't think you went to school for it. I think you got a job, and they're like, hey, the butcher needs some help. Go over there. No, honestly, I bet what it is like they don't have a process for that at HEB. They don't teach their butchers like, oh, you can custom cut these things. Like I remember I wanted to do a beef Wellington for one of my English friends, and beef Wellington is if I remember correctly, it's not the sirloin. It's like basically what's that really expensive small steak you overpriced for? What's it called?
Filet.
Yeah, it's a fillet. But it's a tube, so it's the fillet before they cut it into fillets.
Yeah.
And trying to track one down.
Did you find it?
Well, like HEB, they're like, oh, we don't
do that.
We don't do that.
No.
We just cut them and put them out there. I'm like, well, I'm looking for one that's not cut yet.
Right. I thought they were supposed to be like customized stuff for you, and they don't do that. Speaking of customization, tomorrow on the Cindy Cochran Show, we've learned as much as we can about the way Richard and I think about things, but it's going to be Bill Morris, and this is exciting. This guy is the sheriff. He was the sheriff of Memphis, and he extradited James Earl Ray, the person that assassinated Martin Luther King, and he had to go to find him where they caught him, and then he had to arrest him there and then bring him back to Memphis to stand trial. And so he has all kinds of stories about that. I can't wait to hear that because that was so shocking and so strange. And I was not real young, but I was young, and it was really shocking to me. So I want to ask him some questions about stuff that I never heard someone ask him before. So we're going to do that, and then plus he was best friends with Elvis Presley. Aha! Y'all thought I'd forgotten? No, it's August. It's Elvis Presley month, and so he was best friends with him because Elvis went to school with his wife Anne. They married, and they were all friends. In fact, he was the honor guard at Elvis's funeral. So we've got questions to ask him. He is going to be 90 years old, and he is so smart. I said, you can't be 90 years old. You sound like you're my age. And he goes, are you that old too? He didn't even question me. He said, like, no. So he was just so bright and smart and articulate. Isn't that terrible? No, he's just 90. He's really, he's taking very good care of himself, and it's great. So I want to, as an inspiration, let you hear his story, and that's tomorrow. He has a book out called Bill Morris, A Legendary Life. And so all the pictures you want to see of all the stuff that he's been through, that's what you got. So we'll talk to him tomorrow. And remember that this show will be live on YouTube, right? Are you
It's
gonna?
live right now on YouTube.
I know it's live right now on YouTube. I didn't mean like that. It's live now on YouTube, and then it automatically, after we say goodbye, you'll see it come up. It comes up, and that's so amazing because we used to have to wait for days before you got to see the replay. So anyway, all right, you guys, I will talk to you tomorrow, and it's going to be fun. Same time at 2:00. So have a good day. Y'all be careful, and we love you, first responders. We love you.